What I'll talk in this video is what is the best way to learn quantitative finance from scratch. I have been asked this question many times, so I thought of making a video on that. Well, the short answer to this question is that you should go for a full-time degree. So the best way is to enroll for a formal or full-time degree in quantitative finance or financial engineering. You can also go for a master's degree in applied mathematics with a specialization in quantitative finance or financial engineering. There are also MBA degrees that specialize in quantitative finance. So it's always good to go for a full-time degree for that. Why it's important? Because a full-time degree is very structured. It has got academic rigor, and then you will be dedicating full-time for 2 years, right? So the learning is better. And it's got industry recognition, unlike part-time degree or part-time certifications. So the best way is to go for a full-time master's degree in quantitative finance. That's the best way to learn quantitative finance. And these are some of the very famous university where you can get your degree from. So there's Princeton University, New York University, University of California, Imperial College of London, Carnegie Mellon University. But these universities are mostly located in the US and in the UK, right? Not everybody can go to UK or US for their master's degree, and that's the problem, right? Not everybody can have access to this degree because of various reasons, right? And the most important reason is because these are expensive degrees and not everybody can afford the fee for these programs. There are some formal degrees also in India. So in India you have Chennai Mathematical Institute that provides a master's degree in applied mathematics with specialization in financial engineering. Madras School of Economics is where you can also do your master's in quantitative finance. IFMR provides MBA in financial engineering. So all three Chennai Mathematical Institutes, Madras School of Economics, IFMR, they are all located in Chennai. IIQF provides a postgraduate certification in quantitative finance. I'm not sure about whether it's recognized by any educational body in India or not, but they all do provide a postgraduate certification program. ISI, in my view, is the best. They do not provide a quantitative finance degree, but they provide what is known as a quantitative economics, which is similar to quantitative finance, except the fact that you will be learning more of economics than finance. But it's heavily quantitative, right? You will be learning a lot of econometrics, stochastic calculus, programming, macroeconomics, and so on. So that is very, very good actually. In fact, it's the best quantitative program in India. But the problem with these universities or these institutions is that except for IIQF, all other four ones have very limited seats. So not everybody can get into these places also. Also the fee is very, very low. So that's one good thing. But it's not an option for many to go for a full-time degree for various reasons, right? Money is one factor, right? Not everybody can go to Carnegie Mellon University or New York University or Imperial College of London. It costs a lot of money, right? So far I know it cost over $50,000 in the US and over £30,000 in the UK. So not everybody can afford that kind of money, and that's just a course fee, right? You also have living expenses, traveling expenses, and so on. And also it's not everybody can afford 2 years of full-time commitment, right? That's a big opportunity cost. And these degrees are not available in many countries. I know there are many countries where you do not have a master's program in quantitative finance. So how do you study then when you do not have access to these full-time programs? So then question is, can you learn on your own but just by using books or these online MOOCs? Can you learn on your own, or can you do certifications, right? Part-time certifications that will be enough to get a job in quantitative finance? The answer to this question is yes, you can certainly do, right? If you cannot go for a full-time degree, you can certainly go for part-time certifications. So the famous part-time certification is from Fitch Learning. Yeah, it's called CQF, Certificate in Quantitative Finance. It's very expensive though, right? Not so much expensive compared to the full-time master's program, but still quite expensive. It's like, yeah, above, I think it's above 15,000 pound, right? Which is quite expensive. But they give a lot of discount to people from developing countries like India or from Pakistan, from Sri Lanka. These people from these countries get, I think, 60-70% discount on that. So that's one good thing. There are other part-time certification also, much cheaper, in Coursera or in DataCamp. But so far, my knowledge goes, they're not as good as CQF, because CQF you will be taught by experts, whereas in Coursera they are simply videos. You'll have to go through them, yeah, on your own. There are obviously classroom programs in Coursera as well, but not as good as CQF, right? Yeah, because there are lots of students doing courses in Coursera. They cannot provide attention to every one of them. Yeah, and in Quantopian, right, it's quantopian.com is one place where you can also learn on your own, free of cost. So they have some free courses. You can also do exercise. Yeah, you can actually use your knowledge to implement something on Quantopian website. Quantopian is an online, yeah, hedge fund type company, more quantitative finance based fund company. And there you can, yeah, build algorithm on your own and implement them, and get it tested, back tested. So that's another good place. But keep in mind the below things. Okay, first is that past-time courses are less recognized in the industry, and certainly in the financial industry, because finance industry is very particular about your degrees and things like that, for many reasons. But one main reason is that sometimes regulators expect that companies hire qualified people, right? People with master's degree or PhDs and so on. So that's one problem with having part-time degrees. But CQF is very well recognized in the industry. Like major investment banks or top big banks recognize CQF as a degree. I'm not sure so much about the certification from Coursera. But CQF is very expensive, and Coursera and DataCamp courses are not very detailed also, right? So the next way is yeah, to go for if you cannot go for either of these two options like CQF or a full-time masters, it's best to go for a quantitative masters, like a masters in operation research, econometrics, mathematics, or physics, or engineering, right? And then there you will be learning a lots of mathematics, not so much into the application in finance, maybe in mathematics to some extent, but not in other quantitative degrees. But you can use your quantitative skills from there, and understand how these skills can be applied in finance. There's some alternative degree and certifications as well, like actuarial science. You can write actuarial papers, right? It's very well recognized in the industry. You can learn a lot of quantitative things from there, but also their applications in insurance and finance. Applied mathematics, some universities do provide applied mathematics with focus on finance, or some areas of finance. Quantitative economics, right? I've told you that ISI provides a quantitative economics program, but there are other universities also that provide financial econometrics, right? That's not very, it's not equal to a quantitative finance degree, but you will learn a lots of quantitative techniques being used in finance, right? But heavily concentrated on statistic rather than stochastic methods and so on. So these are some of the alternative degrees and certification you can explore. You can certainly learn on your own, right? If you have a strong quantitative background, right? You have a master's degree in physics, maths, engineering, econometrics, statistics, right? You can certainly learn on your own. Because a lot of the things that you learn in engineering or mathematics or physics can very well be used in finance, such as probability or statistics or stochastic methods and so on. Some of the important books and blogs I mentioned here, I'll also be putting them in the description. So you can go through John C. Hall, Paul Winman, Stephen With. These are some of the important, yeah, very famous books and blogs You can also refer to Quantopian, QuantStat, QuantNet, Quantopian. These are some of the famous blogs. There are not many good YouTube channels actually on YouTube to study quantitative finance, but you can certainly do a bit of a search on YouTube also. Yeah, Wilmont is a very good place to get lots of good information about quantitative finance, also about the job openings and so on. So that also you can use. Some advice I would like to give those who like to learn on your own. Focus on the basics actually, because as a beginner, nobody will expect you to be a masters of or a given technique. So focus on the basics like probability, statistics, econometrics, stochastic calculus, programming. Yeah, breadth of knowledge matters more than the depth for the beginners. It's very important that you will be asked question on a variety of areas, be it probability, be it econometrics, be it finance, be it stochastic calculus or computational programming. But nobody will expect you to be an expert of derivative pricing, for example. Right? People will expect you to have some knowledge of it, but yeah, not much into details. Also, nobody will expect to have like detailed knowledge of FX or any other yeah, even any other derivative product or so on. So that nobody will expect from you. So focus on the breadth, like read as much as possible, know as much as possible. Do not worry if you cannot get into the details or cannot get into the depth of everything. And do not worry if finance doesn't make sense to you, because for beginners it's a problem, right? People coming from physics, maths, engineering background, they do not understand much about finance initially, but that should not be a problem, right? But do study some macroeconomics and finance, it always helps. Learn some accounting as well, it's very underrated in banking. If you're working in banking, no matter which place you are working in, accounting is very important, especially to understand the data. Do lots of programming. It goes without saying, you cannot do quantitative finance without having yeah, good command over programming languages. Most important programming languages are Python, C++, R. You can also specialize in C# or Java. SQL is very important because it's used for extracting data, so that's another important language you should know. Remember that most quant do not build pricing models. So if you do a bit of a search on Google or YouTube, you will find all the quantitative finance lectures to be focused on pricing models, right? Pricing derivative models. But that's not true actually, right? A lot of these people who actually go for quantitative finance degrees, they end up working in risk management, right? That's one area of quantitative finance which does not get much attention during the coursework, but a lot of people actually end up working there, right? Therefore, it's very important to focus also on statistics and econometrics apart from your stochastic calculus, because for pricing models you focus a lot on stochastic methods, but not so much in statistics, right? But statistics come in is used heavily in the risk management, and you have plenty of job opportunities there in risk management, right? So a bit about risk management. It's very underrated actually in quantitative finance. Yeah, because of many reasons. Also because the starting salaries are less as compared to a proper quant working with a derivative pricing team. But the fact is that many students, in fact most of them, end up working in risk management, right? In credit risk management, market risk management, operational risk management, and so on. Risk management is somewhat different from quantitative finance, although it is part of it, but it's somewhat different. Is because regulation is heavily ingrained in risk management, not so much in pricing of some products, but when it comes to provisioning or capital, uh, it is all about regulations, right? Regulators have a lot to say on that. So therefore it's important that you also focus a bit on econometrics, because we use econometrics heavily in credit risk model development, in operational risk model development, and so on. And risk management somewhat easier if you're a bit less quantitative, right? You can definitely make a career in risk management as compared to a core quantitative finance job. And risk management is also good in one way, because it provides you opportunity to move into other areas such as into audit, into business, into even IT, right? Unlike quantitative finance, which is very very quantitative in nature, that people have tough time moving into, let's say, business, right? You will have very less interaction in there. But yeah, I may be wrong though, because it depends on the organization, right? In some organization, the quants also get a lot of attention from business, and they do move to business as a in a full-time role. But I've seen many people from risk management moving to business side later in their career. So you don't saturate after a point. You actually can also start a career in business later. So, but starting salaries are normally less in risk management compared to quantitative finance. But that should not be a cause of should not be a big deal, I would say, because the difference is not significant, except maybe hedge funds and these areas, where because there you only hire, they only hire quantitative finance people. They don't have many risk management people. But banking organizations such as Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan, Citibank, they have to hire yeah, credit risk analyst, market risk analyst, and so on. Okay, so these are some of the things to learn if you're learning on your own: probability statistics, stochastic calculus, pricing of derivatives. John C. Hall is a very good book for that. There are plenty of good books on probability and statistics, so I don't have to mention them. Econometrics is very important, mostly regression, time series. You don't have to go through panel data and all, but time series and regression, these are very important. Monte Carlo simulation goes without saying, heavily used in quantitative finance. Risk management, yeah, credit risk, what is credit risk, what is market risk, operational risk. So go through some of the risk management related topics, and then programming, yeah, goes without saying. And then also a bit about finance, like corporate finance, investment banking, financial regulations, and so on. Yeah, so yeah, for a beginner, this is enough actually. Even for experienced people, they will struggle answering questions from these areas. But for beginner, I think this is enough. If you have good hold of a lot of these areas, I'm sure you can get your first job easily. Yeah, just to conclude, yeah, a formal master's degree is the best by far. If you have money, you have time, and you have the access, and you are in a right place to go for a full-time master's degree, I would recommend you to go for a full-time master's degree to learn quantitative finance. But if it's not possible, it's then you can certainly learn on your own and get a job as a quant. Many people have done that. People coming from engineering or a physics background, or economics background, many people have got quant jobs. Yeah, quant jobs, by the way, is one of the highest paying jobs in almost all countries. Yeah, whether it's India or US or Europe, it's one of the highest paying jobs. But a lot of people do not know about it actually. But the salaries are really really high compared to let's say software engineering jobs. And also I believe that you can learn a lot of things on the job. So you don't have to worry about everything, but it's about getting your first job, right? That's very important. That's exactly the reason why you'll have to put in a lot of effort to learn these things. But it's not like you will have to be an expert before you're getting a job, much like any other job, right? So getting your first job is very important, and there you can learn lots of things, right? So if you do not have access to a full-time program, try your best to get into a full-time job with a bank or an insurance company or a non-banking financial institution, these kind of places, as soon as possible, so that you will have the experience. And with yeah, with your own effort, you can supplement that with your own effort, and then in 2 or 3 years time you will have enough knowledge, or even perhaps more knowledge about from as compared to someone who went for a full-time master's program.